Jurassic Park. Esperamos que aproveite sua estadia. Siga todas as instruções de...
Hello, and welcome to Jurassic Park. Hello there and welcome to Jurassic World Evolution and my recreation of the original Jurassic Park. This is going to be a special 4-part series, I'm pretty sure, over each week, as we look at my own sort of recreations of Jurassic Park, The Lost World, Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So this is, if you don't know Jurassic World Evolution, it's sort of a park builder type of game where you build the actual Jurassic Park with the dinosaurs and with the guests, and you have to sort of keep it running. It's almost like a sort of business game, if you wish to say. So I looked at the movies, I looked at sort of a few different maps and YouTubers to sort of try and recreate what the original Jurassic Park would have been like. So I'm gonna take you on sort of a tour. So we're going to do the drive-through of where the main cast did before they got to the visitor center. Then when we get to the visitor center, we're actually going to do the Jurassic Park tour, and then I'm going to give you a full overview of the actual map and everything. So if you would like to recreate it as well, so let's get started at the Welcome Center, and let's get going. So once we've left the visitor center, we will be actually heading over to the security center. We're actually going to get the Jeep to the visitor center. Now we do have a secondary path to take if you'd like to do the long walk to the center, but I think we're gonna take the fast way, and what the main cast did with Alan and Ellie and Dr. Ian Malcolm. So we're gonna take the Jeep. And here are the original Jurassic Park Jeeps. They look absolutely amazing. Now I absolutely love the Jurassic Park films. I think Jurassic Park was one of my first films I actually ever saw in a cinema. So let's take aboard the Jeep and get going to the visitor center. Okay, so we're actually in the Jurassic Park Jeep. I do have someone at the back, but I can't actually see them. So let's get going. And make our way to the visitors center. So we'll have to just turn down this way, and we will see some gates. So this is sort of based off just sort of different maps, and just watching the movie again of where everything would be. So these are the sort of double gates that we're going through. And then we've got two sort of signs up this way. So one is pointing us to the visitor center, and then the other one is pointing us to the East Dock, where that becomes a very sort of iconic moment in the Jurassic Park franchise, where that Dennis Muren guy, I think that's his name, who just really turns the whole movie upside down. But we will get to that shortly. So we're gonna take the east, not the East Dock, the visitor center. I mean, the visitor center is this way. So here we go. So we've just got a bunch of sort of trees as a barrier. We do have sort of a footpath, if you can see, that I've made. And then we're heading to some more gates. This is sort of a shortcut way getting into the visitor center. And we're slowly going to be approaching one of the first dinosaur exhibits our main cast actually sees. So I think I see one on the horizon. Let's take a closer look. And there we have it. We have the magnificent Brachiosaurus. And isn't she beautiful? So if we just follow, we should be able to follow a path. There we go. That is the actual tour path that comes through here. And we can see the parasaurs already over there. Now they were featured in the first film as well. I think they were by the water lake or something like that you could see. So we've got a few parasaurs. We're going to make our way to the visitor center now through this gate. We've got a number of different gates to go through, and I remember them going through a lot of sort of double gates in the film. And we should be seeing the path and about to head, get to the visitor center. We've got a few guests in the park today, which is really good. And we just see it. There we have the actual visitor center, which looks beautiful. Oh, and we're about to crash into some of the Jungle Jeep tour that we're about to do, so we'll let them go past. So the visitor center was pretty much the main hub of Jurassic Park. It had the command sort of post in there and the security center as well. And as in the film, the visitor center was overlooking a lake. Now it's not a massively big lake. It gave it that sort of original feel again that was in the film. Now as the guests leave the visitor center, they can actually come to the gift shop before getting started on the actual Jurassic Park ride. And we have the Jurassic gifts right here. And we also have a Jurassic cafe. So this is now the Jurassic Park Tour. This is the only sort of ride that's in the original Jurassic Park. And this is the ride that the main cast take. And this pretty much gives you an overview of, goes to all the dinosaur exhibits. And they're actually really cool as well. It gives you sort of some cool information about the different sort of dinosaurs that are in the park. And I've tried to recreate the park as best I can, with mainly the dinosaurs that mostly all the dinosaurs that are actually featured in the film, and how the exhibits were like. So, for example, like the T-Rex exhibit, it had a sort of a massive mountain to the side, and then a massive drop down. So that's all been featured. So I think we're gonna take the tour now. Now I'm gonna be driving because the tour is quite slow automatic. So I thought I'm gonna drive, give you a tour base, and then I'm just gonna give you sort of a full overview of the park as well. So let's get started. And hold on to your butts. Okay, so we're actually in the tour vehicle right now. It's very similar setup to the original one in the film. We have the TV monitor there and the skyline there, so I think we're gonna get started on the tour. So let's get going.
Are remotely controlled and monitored from the Jurassic Park
Okay, so we're gonna go past the visitors center, like how they did in the film, and there it is. I'm gonna make sure I don't run over these guests. There is quite a lot of guests here in the park today. And over there is just a restroom for the guests. Now we've got a bit of a hill to climb up. So usually these cars will not run as fast as this. So we've got another Jurassic Cafe. We have the Jurassic gifts over there, and another restroom. And on this side is just cages. So next up, we're coming to the main visitors complex. So we've got a couple of hotels. So yeah, we've got a couple of hotels and some more restaurants and cafes. I think there's 3 lots of hotels there. And then of course more gift stores as well. So we're gonna continue the tour right now and get going. It is quite a long tour. I think I've clocked it at about 15 minutes if you're doing it slow. So we're not going to take, I don't think, 15 minutes. So I hope everyone is having a nice day today on the Danger Tour. And we're about to, yep, just keep following the track, and we are heading to those famous gates. Yes, the original Jurassic Park gates. They're pretty magnificent every time I actually go see them. So let's get going and
Electric
welcome
motors cut
to
down on
Jurassic
noise pollution,
Park.
and so allow a more natural environment for the dinosaurs.
Okay, so we are in Jurassic Park right now. And we'll be coming up to our first exhibit. Now, if you remember this area, those were the gates that we actually first came in to the visitor center. So this is the actual path leading up to the welcome center, and that's a shortcut to the visitor center. So let's get going to our first dinosaur,
Dinosaurs will often congregate around
and
fires
that
and
is
water
the
sources.
Dilophosaurus. Now, I'll be able to do better views of these dinosaurs, but for now we are just doing the tour. So, unfortunately, back in the 90s, this tour didn't have the best viewing platforms and so forth. So, they were only around to the cages. So there we have the Dilophosaurus statue, and I'm gonna wait around and see if we can actually see them. There's a few Dilophosauruses.
This vehicle is powered by an electric motor. And
Now,
can
if you remember the
travel at speeds of up
Dilophosaurus,
to
they
20
were
miles
quite
per hour.
a dinosaur character. They got one. They took care of our sort of main villain with that dino spray, toxic spray. I mean. Now I can see a couple up here, so I'm gonna try. Looks like they're having lunch or dinner. So I can hear them, but that's their sort of feeding stages right now. So we're coming up to our next carnivore exhibit. I think it's the Procanthosaurus. And let's see if we can see him. Now we've got a few of them in the actual exhibit. There's the feeder. Now I think these were.
Species of dinosaur have different requirements for care.
I know one of them was sort of like a
Their
distant
needs
cousin
first
to the
and develop
T-Rex.
bespoke approaches for each species.
Oh, there they are.
The first and only Proceratosaurus fossil was discovered in Gloucestershire, England by F. Lewis Bradley in the early 1900s.
The Procanthosaurus or something like that. I'm gonna butcher these names so bad. There they are. Let's continue, because this tour is quite long. Now this is all part of the Dilophosaurus exhibit. So we're just driving through right now. The roads are quite unsteady, a bit bumpy, so apologies for that. So now we're coming to our next exhibit, and it's the Herosaurus, I believe. let's see if we can.
Herosaurus is a
Yeah,
primitive
Herosaurus.
theropod from the late Triassic period and one of the oldest carnivores known.
So I'm not seeing any of our Herosaurus. Oh, there's one over there, I can see. Okay. Now we've tried to put the feeders right to the cages, and there we go, perfect view of the Herosaurus. There we go.
Herrerasaurus is a remarkably efficient hunter. Nothing she eats goes to waste. She is even capable of digesting bones.
And we will continue on to the tour now. Just entering some sand, and we're heading back, but going to be going the opposite way. It is quite hilly, so quite Mount Everest in a way. And I have added in some artificial sort of mountains as well to again give it that Jurassic Park feel. So we're continuing on. I hope everyone is having a nice time in the Danger Tour. And if you get eaten, it's not my fault. So we're coming up to our next exhibit, and these will be sort of the larger carnivores. So we saw the smaller carnivores, but now we're coming up to the larger carnivores. And we're coming up to the Baronox. I think he first appeared, like he appeared actually in the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I'm pretty sure as well, the newest Jurassic film. So we've got one coming up to the fence, which we're very lucky about.
Baryonyx fossil evidence showing fish scales and juvenile iguanodon bones in her stomach region have informed her care. We have recently supplemented her carnivorous diet with new pescatarian options.
So Baryonyx, there we go. Now these dinosaurs actually, they are meat eaters, but they do like fish as well. So we have a lot of the feeders actually in the water. Alright, let's get into our next largest dinosaur, and it's the Medicantosaurus. So again, these exhibits weren't really the best in sort of viewing at all. We do get into some more opened areas. where you will see a lot of the herbivore dinosaurs. But for now, obviously, we have to have the cages up for the carnivores because they will attack you. Okay, so we are now heading to the T-Rex exhibits, one of our main attractions here at the park. Now he's got probably the biggest exhibit, and it's quite far away from all the other exhibits.
Sometimes it is necessary to transport a dinosaur to another enclosure or to the mainland. Such actions are taken.
So we're heading towards the T-Rex exhibit, and here we do. Now I'm hoping we're gonna see him because this is quite a big exhibit. So we've got the Tyrannosaurus Rex logo there. We've also got the hilly mountain that was on the side of the cage, and we've got a couple of meat feeders right next to the cage, so he will have to come up here to feed. And we do have that goat as well. And we've got the cool drop-off point, if you remember from the film, that poor lawyer that got destroyed or eaten by the T-Rex in that very same art house. So now we're gonna try and see if we can find our T-Rex. So we can actually stay here for a little bit, do a couple of rounds, and see if we can see him. Now, you'll be able to hear him as well, because his footsteps alone are just massive. So hopefully we can see the T-Rex. Oh, and we've got some company right here. We've got the tour guides coming through in their tour vehicles. So, see, lucky for us, we can actually stop here and wait to see if we can see the T-Rex. They have to actually keep moving. But yeah, so we've got the toilet restroom over there, and then there's just a massive mountainside that's actually that I built up to sort of give it that presence almost. But his exhibit sort of drops down, so just like how it was in the film, how they sort of went over the edge of the T-Rex exhibit, that's how I've sort of built it in a way as well. So the T-Rex has to actually climb up the mountain to get to this point. But he does, because we have put a lot of the feeders, like the goat feeder that's in the film, it's up that way as well. Alright, so we're leaving the T-Rex enclosure, and that is going to be it for our carnivores for now, because we will be heading into the herbivores, so the non-meat eating dinosaurs.
Your safety is important to us, so please follow any instructions in case of an emergency.
Got a bit of a drop, so hold on. Whoop, doing it very slowly. Let the gate open, there we go. Now, the next sort of pens are actually quite open, so we can actually go up and interact with the dinosaurs as close as we possibly can. And we're coming up to our next exhibit, and that is the Triceratops. Now, if you remember in the film, we stopped by this enclosure to see a very sick sort of Triceratops.
At the same time as T-Rex. They were mortal enemies then, and they remain
So
to this day.
Oh, we can see a Triceratops right now. So if we just sneak in off the tour track, slowly sneak up to it. He's having a bit of a feed at the moment. But there is our Triceratops. Look at him, he's so beautiful. And then we have another, I think we've got about 5 Triceratops in this little enclosure.
Night vision goggles are available in the glove compartment.
So we might actually go a little bit closer to them as well. And there they are from the distance. But yeah, there is our Triceratops enclosure. Now we'll continue on following their path, because I think this tour has gone a little bit over. But we'll get a bit closer to these guys now. And these are the rest of the Triceratops. And they're just having a nice time.
The large bony frill and 3 horns serve to make Triceratops one of the best known dinosaurs, and this makes her a popular attraction.
We might let the Triceratops pass us. There he goes. And thank you over there, Triceratops, for putting on a nice little show. So they've got another quite a big exhibit. We've got grass feeders all around, and then there's a lot of more dirt as well, because I think they do like being in a dirt enclosure. And I remember the enclosure in the film had quite a lot of sort of dirt around it.
Dinosaurs are shy and prefer the cover offered by the forest, so may not be visible.
So we're leaving the Triceratops exhibit and moving into our next exhibit. It's again another herbivore one, and we have the Gallimimus. We've got a few coming up now. There we have. We've got. Now there's quite a few Gallimimus in here. I think there's at least 20 to 25. Because if you remember in the film, there was quite a lot of the Gallimimus sort of doing that famous sort of stampede. So when the T-Rex actually escaped, the T-Rex's park is just over that way. So he got through his enclosure and actually came straight through this enclosure to then lead into the visitor center, which is just over that way. Oh, get going. There we go. So it's a cool little interactive one, because there's quite a few of them around, so you're definitely going to see the dinosaurs in this exhibit. So I think we're gonna get going. But yeah, so the visitor center is just over that way. And fun fact, we might just detour from this for a little bit. This is actually the fence where Dr. Alan Grant and the kids actually have to climb the fence to get back to the visitor center that's just over there. Now I remember there was a few palm trees and everything, and I think Tim got electrocuted on this fence, so this is a sort of a recreation of that. Because they just sort of escaped seeing the T-Rex in the Gallimimus exhibit, so we're going to get back on the tour because we've still got a couple more exhibits to go. And we're heading into now the Brachiosaurus and the Paracyphalosaurus exhibits. So these were the exhibits that we first came into to get through to the visitor center from the welcome center. And then we have a Brachiosaurus. And we just sort of follow the tour. So the tour just goes around sort of the back way of the enclosure and through the watering hole. And there we have them. So there's quite a few Brachiosauruses and a Paracyphalosaurus as well. So they both share the enclosure.
Brachiosaurus's name is derived from the incredible height of her humerus. She is so famous there is an asteroid named after her.
Oh, I didn't know that. There we have it. They are magnificent. Like the fact that something like this was on our planet, like it's just insane, and how tall it is. Like we are tiny compared to this thing. Absolutely tiny. So there we have the Brachiosaurus.
Brachiosaurus is one of the most well-known dinosaurs.
And we have the Paracyphalosaurus, one over there, and there's another one over here. They're pretty famous in the Jurassic Park franchise. I think they've been in every single Jurassic Park film. Definitely in the Jurassic World. Oh, what is going on over here? So they're actually socializing. So this is a really special treat we've got here. But we will have to move them on soon. But actually we might just go past them and not follow the track. So we'll let them continue their socializing. And we're going to continue on the tour to our final exhibit. Okay. So we're back in the Gallimimus exhibit, but we are leaving the exhibit. and we've got the visitor center just over there, so we're going to be heading back. And again, this is the same area where Alan and the kids sort of escaped from and headed back into the visitor center and escaped from the actual park itself. But we do know that there was another thing that they actually ran into when they got into the visitor center, and that is the velociraptors. And we have the velociraptors coming up now. So they have their own sort of section, because they're the most intelligent and the most dangerous dinosaurs we have at this park. And we've got one right there. There we have the velociraptor. So I think we've got about 5 of them in the park. So that is it pretty much. That is just the velociraptor pen. We'll have to skip past these guys and get going. Now we've got one more little cool icon coming up, and then there's the actual sort of birth pen, I think it is, for the velociraptors, and that did feature in Jurassic Park. So we had this base not far from their exhibit, and they would be sort of birthed in there and then moved on to their exhibit over there. So a lot of high security going on right now, because they are, again, one of the most dangerous dinosaurs we have in the park. And as we leave the visitor center, we're heading now back to the main exhibit. So we're just doing a little roundabout over here and then heading back in. So that is our tour. So we got to see most dinosaurs. Unfortunately, we did not get to see the T-Rex. But we hope you enjoyed the vehicle tour experience. So that was the Jurassic Park tour and that experience, and I did mesh in a few of the cinematics of the dinosaurs as well, if we actually didn't get to see them on the tour. So I'll give you now a full overview of the actual park itself. So we have the arrival helipad right there. We've got the hatching bays, 2 hatching bays, and then we have actually the park itself. So the visitors, we've got the guest bedrooms and guest hotels and everything there, and we have the visitor center over that way, and then that's the main entrance. We have a exhibit over here for the Dilophosaurus, the Herrerasaurus over here, The where we go, Pro Acanthosaurus. Now the T-Rex exhibit is quite massive, and that's the actual hill area over there. Triceratops, we've got the Velociraptors. Now over here is quite interesting because, so if you remember, we came over here for the visitors center, that we went that way to entrance, and then this way is actually the East Docks, so we can follow the East Docks pathway, and it goes actually through the tour, and you can see the signs for the East Dock and the helipad over that way. So if you remember the with Dennis Muren trying to escape the Jurassic Park as he stole some of the dinosaurs embryos, he crashed his car. So this is where he would have, I think, drove down this path and then crashed his car around here because he fell off this cliff here. So he would have gone through here but then crashed, came running down this hill and just crashed over here in the mud. And then he used a tree, this single tree right here, to hook it up to his car to get it out, but then there was a wild Dilophosaurus just running about over here that did sort of finish him off. So that's a cool little treat. And if he would have continued, he would have gone into the East Dock. That lands out that way. So there is the park, and we're going back to the T-Rex exhibit here. That's the Triceratops one. Nope. Yeah, so that's the artificial mountain that was created. And then the exhibit himself, so he's right over here. And there's quite a massive drop. Now, it's not a massively massive one like that was in the film. But this was the area that Alan and the kids actually fell down and had to sort of hide up one of the massive trees that are here. But there's the T-Rex. And he's got quite a big exhibit. So he's got the main focus exhibit in the actual park. And the Medicantosaurus that we have right there. So yeah, that is my Jurassic recreation of the Jurassic Park. We do have a power plant over here that I don't think I viewed. And if we're going back over this way, we have again the tour, the visitors center. So we've got a nice hotel and a couple of bars and restaurants and fast food outlets and gift shops as well. So again, the park is actually quite full today, which is very good. And then we have back at the visitor center, so you can see the trek from where Dr. Alan Grant and Tim and Lex came from, where they're over in this direction here, where the vehicle did crash and then come down to this side. So they would have had to walk all the way through here, through the Gallimimus area, and then through this section and back to the visitor center. So it was quite a trek and a half, but yeah, again, this is the area that they would have come through. when the gates were down. Well, there it is. There is the Jurassic Park recreation video. I hope you guys liked it. It is probably going to be quite a long video, but we did the tour and then did some cool cinematic shots as well. So that's sort of my recreation. I got a lot of help from different maps, watching the movies, and a few sort of YouTubers as well, of them recreating the park. So that helped me massively. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Join me next Monday as we're going to take a look at Jurassic Park, the Lost World exhibit. Now that exhibit is quite different to this park. This park is very sort of controlled, and you've got a couple of exhibits where you can interact sort of with the dinosaurs, but the Jurassic Park Lost World one, there's quite a big open areas, and we've got a lot more dinosaurs. We've got double the amount of dinosaurs that are in that park. And then the following Mondays, we're going to have a look at my recreation of Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom as well. So I'm hoping this video is going to turn out okay, but thank you for joining me, and I will see you on our next Jurassic Park adventure as we head to the Lost World.
With